I never expected to turn into a mythical creature that changed my life forever. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. My ordinary world turned upside down. One moment I was a typical high school student. The next, my skin began to shimmer under the sun, glistening like 1,000 stars. I felt the weight shift on my shoulders, an unfamiliar warmth spreading through my veins. My heart raced. Panic took hold. It was a quiet afternoon when it happened. My friends and I were hanging out in the park, engrossed in laughter. Then I noticed the sky darkening, clouds swirling like a tempest. Murmurs buzzed around me, but I couldn't focus. It felt like the universe was whispering secrets. One of my closest friends, Mia, watched in disbelief, her wide eyes shimmering with both fear and awe. "What is happening to you?" she called out, stepping back as if I were a wild animal. I wanted to scream, to escape the reality altering before me. Instead, I felt anchored to the ground, a heavy pulse thrumming in my chest. Suddenly, thunder rumbled overhead. With a blinding flash, I fell to my knees. The grass felt alive underneath me, vibrating. I swallowed hard, the lump in my throat choking my voice. My hands trembled. And then, as if responding to an unspoken command, my body transformed. I felt elongated limbs sprouting, delicate wings unfurling behind me. The world spun, and I gasped, inhaling the heavy scent of rain mixing with earth. Panic-stricken faces swirled around me. Their whispers felt like daggers. "Is this real?" I thought. Surely, I had slipped into a nightmare. The wind howled, my wings fluttering instinctively as if longing to take flight. But I was trapped in a body I did not recognize, within the confines of a reality I couldn't grasp. Every heartbeat echoed with a primal urge. I looked at Mia, her face pale and etched with disbelief. "Help me," I mouthed, the word barely escaping my lips, barely audible over the chaos. My eyes searched for comfort, for understanding. But with every second that ticked by, my transformation became undeniable. Colors intensified, a vibrant spectrum swirled around, captivating yet terrifying. I could hear whispers in the wind, beckoning me, heart raced faster. Was it a call, or a warning? And then I saw a shard of reflection in a puddle. Not just my face, but something more. Almost otherworldly. I couldn't breathe. Who was this creature? Panic surged, cold and demanding. "This can't be real." My voice cracked, but it felt like someone else's. I stumbled backward, my newfound wings flaring behind me. Tentative, exploring the edges of my bizarre reality. A figure emerged from the shadows, someone I didn't recognize. Their eyes filled with secrets, with promises that stirred my soul. They stepped forward, and a hush fell over the crowd. I held my breath. "What have you become?" they whispered, their voice low, resonating with an ancient knowledge. I felt the ground beneath me tremble. My heart raced to a rhythm of fear, hope, and something I couldn't understand. The longing grew. What else lay hidden inside me? What was about to unravel? The world felt dangerously close, the eyes watching me heavy with expectation. I was no longer just me. I was something far more powerful. And yet, where would this journey lead? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The air crackled with electricity, and I could feel the heartbeats around me like a deafening chorus. My transformation was no longer an enigma. It was an undeniable reality, and the weight of it pressed down on me like 1,000 stones. Faces turned toward me in a melange of awe and fear, and the shimmer of my skin felt like a spotlight, drawing unwanted attention. I didn't know whether to soar into the sky or sink into the ground. Mia broke through the throng, her voice cutting through my chaos. "You're still you, right? Just different." But the uncertainty in her tone mirrored my own spiraling thoughts. Was I still me? I looked at my hands, delicate fingers stretching with slight iridescence, and I felt lost. The creature reflected in the puddle was not just unfamiliar. It felt like a stranger lurking within my own skin. A part of me longed to embrace this new identity, to explore the vastness of my newfound powers. But another part clung to the remnants of my old life school, laughter and simple joys. Would my friend still want me now? As I flapped my wings tentatively, struggling with the instinct to take flight and escape, the figure in the shadows stepped forward, their presence authoritative yet comforting. "It's normal to feel overwhelmed," they said, their voice like a soothing balm on my frantic heart. "This change is a part of you now, a gift and a burden." I searched their eyes, hoping to find the reassurance I so desperately craved, but they revealed no answers, only a flicker of understanding deep in their gaze. The murmurs from the crowd grew louder, children pulling at their parents' sleeves, pointing at me with varying degrees of fear and fascination. My heart sank. What if I can't control this? The thought crashed over me like a wave, pulling me under. I wanted to retreat into the silence of my old life, but just as I contemplated flight, a soft voice chimed through the cacophony. "Whoa, did you see that? That was awesome." A boy no older than 9 stepped forward, eyes wide as saucers, wearing a grin that cut through my despair. "You're like a superhero. Can you fly? Show us." His innocence ignited a flicker of hope in me. With trembling wings, I lifted myself a few inches off the ground, hovering awkwardly. Laughter erupted from the children, pure and untainted by fear. Though my nerves danced on edge, a spark ignited in my chest. I felt my spirit swell, and for just a moment my panic dissipated, replaced by something beautiful wonder. "You can fly. Like you're magic," the boy exclaimed, his eyes shimmering with excitement. I felt a swell of pride, an affirmation that perhaps I could navigate this uncharted territory after all. Mia joined the laughter, her gaze easing into admiration instead of alarm. But just as I felt a flicker of joy, the figure who had approached me stepped back into the shadows, tugging at my sense of foreboding. "Beware of your gift. It draws attention, both good and bad." Their warning lingered in the air, sending a chill down my spine. I couldn't help but wonder, what did they know that I didn't? Testing the boundaries of my new wings, I strained to dive higher into the air, the exhilaration coursing through me. But the heart-stopping thrill was short-lived. A piercing shriek pierced the moment, the sound slicing through my newfound confidence. My eyes darted to the source. Mia stood frozen, mouth agape, face turned pale. And then I saw it, hovering ominously in the distancia, shadow of a creature far darker than me lingering above the treetops. It circled like a predator watching its prey, and fear ensnared my heart once again. Panic swirled, and the thought hit me painfully. This moment of joy could collapse into chaos at any moment. "Get back!" Mia shouted, dragging the boy away, but my feet felt glued to the ground. My instincts screamed at me to flee, but another part compelled me to fight, to protect the ones I loved. Clenching my fists, I could feel the power surging, coursing through me like wildfire. Yet doubt overshadowed it. What if I couldn't wield it? The creature loomed closer, revealing sinister features I couldn't comprehend. I had no idea what it wanted, but one thing was clear. This newfound life had thrust me into a battle I wasn't prepared to fight. As the creature drew nearer, my heart raced, thrumming not just with fear but an awakening resolve. Time slowed. Who was this being, and what did my transformation mean for our world? Just before everything erupted into chaos, a voice echoed in my mind, urging me to acknowledge the power within me. "You must embrace who you are. Your journey has only just begun." But with each pulse of my heart, fear threatened to pull me back into oblivion. What awaited me beyond the swirling shadows? I was terrified of the answer, and at that moment, I felt more lost than ever. And as I steadied my breath to confront the impending storm, a new realization struck me harder than the transformation itself. There was no way back to the ordinary world I once knew. There was only forward, only uncertainty and perhaps danger. The creature above swooped low, a dark silhouette spiraling through the sky, and I felt the air grow dense with dread. Gripped by an instinct to flee, I fought against the petrifying fear that had melded with my newfound power. The crowd below began to scatter, an ocean of panic that surged through the streets. Children cried out, mothers called for their little ones, and in the heart of the chaos, I stood paralyzed, caught between flight and fight. "Fly!" MIA's voice cut through the noise, pulling me back from the brink of despair. You can do this. I looked at her, her features taut with worry but fierce with determination, and a flicker of resolve ignited within me. Could I really take to the sky? As the dark figure glided closer, its piercing gaze locked onto me, and I knew there was no time to deliberate. I had to trust myself, even amidst the tempest of uncertainty swirling in my chest. Gathering all my strength, I flapped my wings with all the ferocity I could muster, launching myself upward. The sensation of the wind rushing past me was exhilarating, yet terrifying, and I found myself soaring above the chaos. I could see the destruction unfolding below, with debris scattering and shadows chasing after frightened townsfolk. Yet, the darkness was not just a physical presence. It was embedded deep within my heart, threatening to engulf me in despair. Then came a voice from the shadows, resonating deep within my mind, and instead of drowning in fear, it ignited something primal. Harness the light within. Show them who you truly are. With that, I twisted midair, my wings cutting through the darkness like a beacon. I focused on the shimmering brilliance I felt nestled deep within me. The world below transformed as I began to revel in my powers not just to protect, but to inspire. I dived low, spraying a trail of radiant light, illuminating my surroundings, casting out the shadows that crept around the edges of what had once felt like home. But the creature wasn't daunted. It barreled toward me, dark wings casting an ominous shadow over the land as it loomed closer, its growl echoing through the air like thunder. My heart raced as I tried to read its intentions, but its true form remained concealed. Was it a reflection of my fears? Or a harbinger of chaos? I felt a rush beside me, and as I twisted in the air, I caught sight of Mia on the ground, her arms stretched wide, hands glowing with an ethereal light of their own. She wasn't afraid anymore, she was with me, amplifying my strength. Together, she shouted, and I felt the warmth of her courage flood through me. Suddenly, I saw the beauty of this moment. In our shared solidarity, we became a force, intertwining my light with hers, defying the shadow that sought to consume us. The darkness wailed as it charged, but I froze time in our embrace. In a burst of unity, we thrust our energies forward, spilling light toward the menacing figure. The creature screamed, caught off guard, recoiling from our combined force. In that moment, I glimpsed a fragment of true vulnerability, hidden beneath layers of fury and malice. Was there more to it than mere vileness? But just as I began to unravel the mystery, the ground trembled violently. Beneath us, cracks formed in the earth, a fissure threatening to consume the very foundation of our world. No, I gasped, an acute pain sparking in my chest. Hold on, Mia cried, reaching toward me as her eyes widened in horror. The fissure opened wider, a gaping maw hungry for light, and I felt the power dissipating, spiraling out of control. The creature screeched and twisted like a wounded animal, desperately seeking refuge within the shadows. A pulse of chaos surged, and I felt my connection with Mia strain, as though the very fabric of our bond frayed along with the world around us. Don't let go, she screamed, but my grasp was faltering, and I could feel the enormity of despair creeping into my heart. I faced the approaching void, dismay clouding my vision. I can't hold it together. But just as I began to succumb to an overwhelming sense of failure, a figure stepped forward from the retreating shadows, the one who had warned me before. Their presence was commanding, and yet there was gentleness laced within their authority. You need to make a choice, they said, their voice weaving a thread of calm over the chaos. The shadow cannot survive in the light. Choose to stand. Choose to fight. In that fleeting moment, time stood still, and amid the fear, the uncertainty, and the darkness looming above, a new resolve surged within me. Clenching my fists, I anchored myself, drawing strength from the friends who stood by my side. I could either let the shadows consume me or step boldly into the light. As I channeled my energy, the light around us brightened, coiling outward like a protective shield, enveloping Mia and radiating toward the depths of darkness. But just as I felt hope blossom, the creature lunged. A feral rage ignited and directed toward me. I froze, its eyes glittered with sinister intent, and in a shocking, ear-splitting roar, I understood this wasn't merely a manifestation of dark vows but a profound herald of a change that stirred within me as well. Without the chance to fully comprehend what that could mean, The creature leaped towards me, teeth bared. "You're not finished," it growled, and in its fated breath, I caught a whisper of something that sent a shiver down my spine. "Your past is not lost." And then it struck. The impact nearly shattered me. The creature's weight pressed against my chest, pinning me to the ground. I gasped for air, and the light I had conjured flickered ominously, threatening to drown in shadows. Panic rose within me as I fought against the dark, desperate to rise, to break free. MIA's shouts faded into the background, muffled by the rush of blood in my ears. I felt the heat of the beast's body seeping into me, as if its darkness were a tangible force, seeking to invade my very essence. In the midst of the struggle, confusion clouded my thoughts. "Your past is not lost," the creature had echoed in my mind, as if whispering secrets trailed by guilt and fear. Did it know something I didn't? Did I dare delve into that? With a fierce inland of strength, I threw the creature off, stumbling onto my feet. I forced breath into my lungs, the cool air igniting that flame of light within me once more. I could hear Mia calling my name through the cacophony that enveloped us, her voice a lifeline connecting us amidst the chaos. But shadows danced at the edges of my vision, taunting and clawing, as if to remind me that they were always lurking. "Stay strong." MIA's call reverberated through the disarray, pushing me toward clarity. "Together, remember?" It was then I caught sight of her, caught in a transient battle of her own, her light flickering under the weight of the encroaching darkness that sought to claim her. My heart twisted painfully. We were locked in a moment of sacred trust, bound by the urgency to survive. I couldn't let the shadows swallow the radiance that defined her, nor could I let my light extinguish under the weight of my fear. Together, I echoed, letting my power coalesce in tandem with hers. I steadied my stance against the tumult, drawing upon the shared energy that ignited our spirits. In that instantaneous connection, a dawn of hope unfurled, a single moment of unyielding brilliance against the relentless dark that I focused, directing my energy towards the fissure widening at our feet, channeling the residual light that sought refuge in every crevice of despair. "Not today," I whispered fiercely, letting the warmth of our bond spiral outward. The ground trembled, but it felt different this time, more alive, a subtle reminder of resilience woven into the fabric of our shared existence. The creature inched back, sensing the shift, its eyes swirling with confusion. With every ounce of will, I confronted it, daring to wonder if that chaotic energy coursing through me signaled something more, a connection to its anguish. "Why are you here?" I demanded, my voice bold, unwavering. "What do you want from me?" "Everything," it snarled, but its gaze skittered, revealing flickers of hurt beneath that mask of rage. "You were created for this moment, to be both light and dark." The words jolted through me. Created, it echoed with my fears and lingered with uncomfortable revelations of forgotten memories I hadn't quite reconciled. Was I meant to pull from those raw fragments of past pain? A part of me ached at the thought. With every whisper the creature let out, each strike felt as if it were unraveling the truth under layers of hurt I didn't quite remember but somehow recognized. "Find your truth within the shadows," it insisted, its voice a haunting melody, terrifying yet strangely compelling. "You have the power to break free." I hesitated, torn between fleeing the pain embedded in the depths of my consciousness and confronting the truths I buried far too deep. The fissure beneath us yawned wider, threatening to consume everything I fought for. Still, something within me, a flicker of inherent defiance, urged me onward. Suddenly, I was jolted from my thoughts by a sharp pain in my side. A shadowy tendril had curled around my waist, binding me like a serpent. The darkness clawed deep into my skin, igniting a blaze of agony that reverberated through my body. "I won't let you," I screamed against the encroaching void, wrestling against its grasp as the darkness threatened to stake claim to my identity. I felt the light shield I had conjured begin to flicker, straining against the overwhelming force of shadow. "Mia!" I cried, searching for her amidst the tumult. "I can't hold it." "Focus," she urged, her voice just above a whisper, yet radiating strength. "We are the light. Remember, your past is part of who you are. Use it." Her words became an anchor amidst the storm of chaos. Even through the gripping despair, I felt clarity spark, a light buried within, tethered to memories both distant and vivid. Where I once saw scars, I began to recognize resilience. Where fear loomed, I felt courage surge, and then in that whirlwind of reckoning, something shifted within me. I reached deep inside, forcing the shadows back, gathering the light of every fragmented memory. Faces of loved ones long buried flickered to life, moments I thought I'd lost, gathering like constellations in a darkened sky. My roots grew deeper, intertwined with compassion and strength I had never fully realized I possessed. Together, I cried once more, synchronizing my grasp on Mia's energy that entwined with mine, plunging into the darkness that threatened to consume me. I sought not just to push it away, but to understand it, to weave the light with the shadows, transforming chaos into harmony. But just as the tides began to turn, the ground beneath us rumbled violently. The tension in the air thickened, and in an instant the beast lunged again. I braced myself, channeling everything I had into the light that surged within my core. "Face this together," I shouted, feeling the bonds we shared surge with urgent electricity. But just then, with a final shatter of cacophonous terror, I caught a glimpse of something in anomaly amid the chaos, a shimmering figure rising from the depths of the fissure. My breath caught, heart racing, as I recognized what it was, a mirror image of the creature. Yet, it pulsated with brilliant light, intertwined with dark shadows that flickered like fireflies in a night sky. My eyes widened, realization dawning. This was not just a monster, it was a part of me. I hadn't only been fighting against an external force, but also stepping into the beckoning complexity that defined my existence. "No," I gasped, trembling as it became clear. The true battle was not merely outside me, but within, and as the darkness screamed and clawed, I stood at the precipice of enormous revelation. What could this duality offer? And at what cost? Just as I prepared to comprehend the precarious threads entwined around my life, the figure's eyes locked onto mine, revealing unfathomable depth. With one last, insistent pull, shadows enveloped me, and as the brightness around us dimmed, I realized nothing would be the same again. The shadows coiled around me like a serpent, tightening their grip with each pulse of panic that surged through my veins. My heart raced, caught between the thrill of revelation and the dread of what it could mean. The mirror image of the creature flickered with a vibrant energy, lighting up the darkness that had consumed me just moments before. But instead of fear, a profound sadness swept over me as I gazed into its eyes' deep pools reflecting all the anguish I had buried within. "Mia!" I shouted, tearing my gaze away from the creature to find her, the weight of the moment pressing on my chest. The light around her flickered as she grappled with her own shadows, but then she raised her head, determination etching across her features. "That I am here," she called, her voice fighting through the chaos. A wave of relief washed over me, but the gnawing uncertainty in the air echoed louder with every heartbeat. "No matter what I find," I whispered to myself, pulling in a shallow breath, "I won't surrender." The pain constricting around me only fueled my resolve. The essence of the creature felt like a flame licking at the edges of my soul, urging me to acknowledge the complexities I had feared to confront. The figure swayed, and I felt its essence threading through the darkness, a melody tugging at the resonant chords of my spirit. "You cannot escape the truth," it murmured, voice a haunting blend of sorrow and understanding. "You were forged from this battle of light and shadow, a harmony you must embrace." That I hesitated, the last vestiges of my former self lingering like reluctant shadows in a dawning light. "This can't be who I am," I protested, glancing back at Mia. Her light sparkled defiantly, and I felt a flicker of hope ignite within the abyss. I was not truly alone. "Face it," she insisted, fighting against an unseen pull, a struggle that mirrored my own. Her steadfast courage enveloped me, threading through the countless memories of laughter and warmth. "We'll find a way. Together." That small flame of reassurance lent me the strength to confront that haunting duality, the unique beauty wrapped up in that darkness. I stepped cautiously towards the creature, its luminescent form shimmering, pulsing with a rhythm that mimicked my own heartbeat. As I extended my hand, fragments of memories surged, childhood laughter lost in time, the bittersweet echo of a love long gone. That a part of me screamed to turn back, to flee from the pull of the past and everything it represented. Yet within that terror, I found understanding, an acknowledgement of the strength I needed to tap into. "I choose to learn," I said quietly, voice steadying with determination. "Teach me." The creature hesitated, darkness mingling with hints of light swirling around it, and for a brief moment, I felt a synchronization, the chaos within us dancing in tandem. Embrace the shadows, it whispered, its form edging closer. In unity lies the path to becoming whole. Just then, a crackling surge erupted, and the ground beneath us split even wider, releasing a mournful sound that resonated through the air. I stumbled as the world quaked, my strength tethered at the brink of disarray. But Mia stood firm, the white light nearly blinding as she called upon her own energy. Focus, she shouted, her voice slicing through the tremor. Your truth is waiting, grasp it. The shadows writhed, rivaling the light that Mia and I were generating, pushing against the fissure before us. It was an agonizing tug-of-war, the very essence of my being teetering on the edge of chaos and clarity. I won't let you take her, I roared, feeling the creature's energy surge, but instead of fighting it, I leaned into it, drawing upon the strength buried in my past. With a shattering clarity, a new awareness crashed over me. Those lost pieces of myself awakening to the turmoil around us. Fear and courage whispered sweetly as echoes of resilience rose from within. In that poignant moment, I realized that the darkness didn't just threaten to pull me under. It could also elevate me. Just as I felt ready, braced for whatever truth lay within me, the creature lunged forward, its glowing essence erupting into a spectrum of swirling colors, weaving the light and darkness into something entirely new. I gasped as the manifested energy illuminated our surroundings, and I felt Mia's energy intertwine with mine, like threads braided together. But before I could seize the moment, panic erupted. A voice emerged from the depths of the fissure, a haunting echo that sent chills racing down my spine. You must choose, it thundered, reverberating through the depths of the chaos that surrounded us. All your potential lies in one choice. Are you ready to embrace your truth? Panic surged through me. What choice? I pleaded, feeling the weight of all I had fought against constricting around my heart. What do you mean? The creature shimmered brightly, revealing a path that seemed almost inviting, threading toward the deep shadows of my past. The light will reveal your fate if you dare to confront the darkness within. But just as I leaned toward that beckoning light, a howl erupted from the fissure-showing pain that seared into my soul, leaving me breathless. Mia, I began, but the shadows surged, brushing against my frame, dragging me toward the depths of uncertainty, urging me to step into the unwavering abyss. And there, on the precipice of clarity, I stood, heart racing as the monstrous darkness loomed, a new battle born not only within but of the world around us. What would I find if I surrendered? What cost would my truth demand? As the howl crescendoed into a haunting symphony, something profound shifted within me. I had to recognize the monster was not just what I feared but part of my very being. And in that moment, the ground between my light and dark shattered as I tumbled toward an unexpected fate that promised to unravel everything I thought I knew about myself. The wind howled, carrying with it the stench of forgotten dreams and shattered hopes. As I descended into the depths of the chasm, I felt the walls of my existence narrow around me, and the core of my being quaked with uncertainty. The chaos became a cacophony of despair and yearning, each sound resonating from the very marrow of my being. Mia, I shouted, my voice echoing, swallowed by the shadows. Where was she? How could I choose a path without her? But her fierce energy felt like a tether, pulling me back even as I spiraled downwards. I could sense her warmth, a lighthouse flickering in my fog of doubt. Fight, Mia, please. The abyss answered with a mocking echo, and the churning darkness beneath me thickened, hungry to envelop me whole. Yet, there in the chaos, I remembered her gaze steady and filled with unwavering belief. It anchored me, nudging my spirit toward endurance. The ground beneath me gave way, and questions swirled. What would my truth reveal beyond the veil of fear that loomed? The fracturing energy of the creature pulsed through me, reminding me it was not all menace, but also potential. As I descended further, light and color exploded around me, vivid and electrifying, overwhelming my senses. Streams of energy danced like fireflies, a breathtaking spectacle intertwined with the very shadows that threatened to claim me. Yet, woven through this vibrant tapestry was a silent promise. A whisper beckoned me to delve deeper. Do not resist, it said, the voice soothing yet laced with urgency. Only by embracing both can the true self emerge. But could I? Could I reconcile the darkness that had taken up residence within? Just then, an image materialized amid the luminous chaos. Me mother, her gentle smile shadowed by the weight of loss I had refused to confront. Pain struck my heart, sharp and profound, flooding my mind with recollections I had buried. Embrace it, child. Her voice floated toward me like a healing balm. All that was lost can be found within the shadows. Tears escaped, tracing paths down my cheeks as all the unspoken words lodged in my throat clawed for release. I'm so afraid, Mom. I confess to the phantom of my past. What if I can't escape what I've become? Her spectral figure flickered, radiating warmth. You are not a monster. You are a reflection of your choices. Let the shadows teach you instead of imprison you. A surge of determination pulsed through me, igniting a fire I had forgotten existed. It was my choice. It had to be. Swinging between fear and hope, I squeezed my eyes shut, focusing on that vibrant energy, the light inside the creature that had mirrored my own pain. As I opened my eyes, the maelstrom around me transformed into a whirlpool of colors swirling together, as if the light and darkness conspired to create something extraordinary. I choose to learn from you, I proclaimed, my voice steadier, to find strength in vulnerability. In that moment, the ground suddenly solidified beneath me, filling the void with stability. The swirling shadows stilled, and an iridescent path unfurled within the abyss, beckoning me forward. With each step, both trepidation and a rising resolve fueled my movement. But then a sudden jolt sent reverberations through the air, as another voice joined the chorus of Shadowsa's sinister laugh, that pulled at the edges of my newfound conviction. Do you truly believe you can master the darkness? You are already teetering on the brink, lost in an illusion of courage. That I stumbled, the confidence I had gained wavering in the face of that malicious taunt. Panic threatened to spiral back, but the vision of Mia, radiant against the onslaught of shadows, steadied me once more. Mia, I'm coming, I shouted, my voice a rallying cry to banish the encroaching doubts. I pushed through the swirling energies, feeling the creature pulsate with a guiding rhythm that matched the tempo of my heart. It was a bizarre symbiosis, me fear melding with newfound understanding. Then, as I turned the final corner into a chamber engulfed in an ethereal glow, what lay before me was indescribable. A mirror, forged from the essence of both shadow and light, presented a seamless collage, a breathtaking reflection of all that I had been, and all I could yet become. But as I gazed into my own eyes, they flickered, shifting, revealing a visage so alien that even my heart stuttered. It was not merely an echo of my face, but an entirely new identity, a majestic creature unlike anything I had ever imagined, a fusion of my deepest fears and brightest hopes. Mia! I screamed, half in terror, half in awe, as the revelation hit me. This transformation was not a curse, but a truth waiting to be unraveled. But what did it mean? Was my essence now forever intertwined with the very shadows I had feared? Then the chamber shook violently as if echoing my uncertainty, and a surge of energy rippled through the air, an impending confrontation looming like a storm. I could hear the haunting laughter grow louder, merging with the echo of my own desperation. Will you embrace what you have become, or shrink back into oblivion? The sinister voice hissed, the shadows thrumming all around me. With my heart racing and uncertainty clouding my newly embraced essence, I felt the chasm calling me once more, each heartbeat resetting the balance of light and darkness, putting me on the brink of a revelation that could change everything. Could I face the spiraling truth of who I was meant to be? Or would I falter under the weight of my inherited shadows? As the energy intensifying surged around me, I braced myself for what lay ahead, a destiny that would demand every fragment of my courage, and force me to confront the very essence of my existence. The air crackled with tension, wrapping around me like a suffocating shroud. I felt the raw energy pulsating from the mirror, demanding my attention, challenging my resolve. In this surreal liminal space, among the flickering shadows and light, I was both pressed toward my potential and pulled back to a past I desperately wanted to escape. Mia! I called out again, grounding myself in the urgency of her presence. If only I could sense her just beyond the veil. But amid the twisting tendrils of chaos, the laughter grew louder, a mockery of my inner turmoil. You're losing yourself, the sinister voice taunted, falling prey to what you fear the most. The walls of the chamber closed in, the shadows clawing at the edges of my resolve. I took a deep breath, letting the pulse of the creature harmonize with my own heartbeat. "I'm not afraid of the darkness anymore," I whispered, more to convince myself than anyone else. But the truth was, the deeper I went, the more uncertain I felt that I approached the mirror with hesitant steps, feeling the pull of its otherworldly glow. As I reached out to touch the cool surface, a vision rippled across its glass-like facade. MIA's face flickered into focus, her eyes wide and searching. I could almost feel her warmth, a lifeline in this tempest of confusion. But just as quickly, it twisted into a visage of pain, the last memory I had of her before everything fell apart. "Mia," my voice trembled, the pain of her absence becoming a palpable ache in my chest. "I need you." My heart raced as panic threatened to swallow me whole. But with it came a flicker of something else, a determination to forge forward, to find her no matter the cost. Suddenly, the ground quaked once more, a violent reminder of the intensity swirling around me. Above the chaotic sounds of laughter and memory, a new tone emerged, silvery and soothing. It broke through the tension, a melody of hope threading through the storm. "Mia believed in you," it whispered, as if echoing the mantra of my very essence. The shadows recoiled slightly, their ferocity dimming in reverence to that sound. I clung to the belief that MIA's spirit still lingered, her love wrapping around me like a protective cloak. I needed to find her, navigate through this darkness, and confront whatever otherworldly force sought to claim me. With newfound urgency, I turned back toward the mirror, my heart pulsing with determination. "I will not be defined by my fears," I stated firmly, feeling the weight of the shadows pressing against me. "I will rise." I could feel the phantom wings of the creature within, unfurling with a strength I had yet to fully embrace. But just as I resolved to conquer the shadow within me, the laughter twisted into something more sinister, resonating with truth. "Yet how can you rise if the one who believed in you is lost?" It echoed through the chamber, chilling the very air around me. I stumbled back, my heart racing, the specter of doubt creeping in. A fragment of memory pierced through the din, Mia's soft laughter, our shared dreams beneath a twilight sky, the warmth of her hand squeezing mine in solidarity. Yet that warmth felt distant, almost a memory of a life I could no longer access. "What if she's gone forever?" I whispered, the gravity of despair weighing heavily upon my soul. That I end that moment of vulnerability. A small flicker of light danced along the edges of the mirror. It shimmered, revealing words I hadn't noticed before, drawn from the depths of my yearning. "Trust in the bond," they whispered, "for love transcends the shadows." That I closed my eyes, picturing her smile, the strength that had always anchored my heart. "I will find you, Mia," I vowed, feeling the connection tie tightly, despite the looming threats. The energy surged, the roots of fear entwining with hope, and the shimmering light grew vibrant at my touch. Suddenly, another voice broke through, laden with urgency. "You must choose." The ominous tone vibrated through the ground, causing fractures to spread beneath my feet. "Will you face the shadows, or flee back into the abyss?" I felt the pressure of the moment, the weight of possibility hanging heavy in the air. It was a choice that stood before me, daring me to confront the raw essence of who I was to become. But could I sustain that resolve? How much light could I shine without being consumed by the darkness? As if sensing my hesitation, the mirror shifted again, revealing another vision. This one fell into focus with clarity, the shadowy figure I had seen before, but this time, there was a glimmer of recognition. It wore a mask of secrets, yet I could see faint traces of familiarity beneath the surface. A reflection of myself that felt both foreign and eerily close. A gasp escaped my lips as terror crashed over me like waves. "No," I murmured, stepping back as realization filled me. "It can't be." The shadows surged, flooding into the chamber as my heart threatened to explode from the weight of the revelation. I was not just grappling with darkness. I was staring into a mirror reflecting my potential downfall, the very essence that sought to pull me under. Something shook deep within my career, recognition that this battle was not merely against the shadows, but also against the part of me that feared to shine too brightly. Would I succumb to the darkness that beckoned me? Or could I muster the courage to reach beyond toward the light of understanding, the possibility of grace within this chaos? As the laughter crescendoed, and the shadows clawed ever closer, I held tight to the flickering light of hope, determined to unveil the truth of my destiny amid this tempest, not knowing if the journey would lead me back to Mia or deeper into my own haunting darkness. The mirror glowed brighter, the chaotic energy around me swelling as if responding to the tumult within my heart. I stepped closer, captivated and terrified. The figure in the reflection shifted, and for an unbearable moment, I was engulfed in an abyss of possibilities. Maybe it was all a trick of the mind, a cruel illusion conjured from my deepest fears. But fear alone couldn't contain the undeniable pulse of destiny thrumming through my veins. Mia, the name slipped from my lips, a mantra summoning the courage I desperately needed. I couldn't abandon her again. I could feel the weight of expectation and desperation mingling, pressing down into the pit of my stomach. The laughter morphed into a chilling symphony, a reminder of everything I was ready to fight against. You mask your fears with bravado, a guttural voice coiled around me, taunting. Your bonds are frayed. You have already lost. Shut up. I shouted, an unexpected burst of fury igniting within me. I pressed my hands against the mirror, feeling the warmth of my fingertips against the coldness of the surface. The connection thrummed, a tether to Mia and all that she symbolized. I haven't lost, not yet. The hair on my arm stood on end as I felt the shadows retract slightly, almost as if they anticipated my next move. And within that moment of doubt, there was also a flicker of clarity. I had not given up, and that meant something powerful. Remember, the voice returned, now softer but no less insidious. You are fighting against yourself. What you see in that mirror is not just an enemy, it is an intimate part of who you are. As if on cue, the image in the mirror morphed again, showing me not just the shadow but moments of light. Brief glimpses of laughter bathed in gold, fleeting echoes of childhood joy with Mia at my side. I saw us dashing through sun-drenched fields, our hands clasped tightly, the world falling away as we embraced pure, unfiltered happiness. And just like that, the shadows pulsed with recognition, drawing upon my own memories. Can you be both? They echoed, a merging of delight and despair, the light and the shadow. The enormity of their question settled heavily in my chest. I could almost see the paths branching before me, each possibility tinged with a rich tapestry of emotion and consequence. The thought of Mia's face, her laughter, a flicker of unbroken connection anchored me. I could be whole, even in brokenness. In that moment of reflection, a soft breeze rustled through the chamber, lifting my hair, and reviving a sense of warmth I hadn't felt before. It carried with it whispers, gentle yet filled with conviction. I felt not just the isolation of my journey but the presence of others who had faced their own shadows. They were voices of solidarity, resonating with the truth that transcendence is born through struggle and vulnerability. Amid this chaos, I felt something else, a flicker of hope, a glimmer of trust in the world beyond my turmoil. The shadows twisted in response, swirling as I summoned the vibrant essence of Mia's belief in me. "I'll fight for us," I declared fiercely. "I'll harness the darkness if I must, but I will never let it control me. I choose to embrace my light, my flaws, my love for Mia above all else." The air shifted as my declaration disturbed the balance. Light flickered and swirled, enveloping the chamber in an incandescent glow that brushed against the dark's edge. In that flow of sentiment, the mirror trembled, revealing a path illuminated with shadows and flickers of light, a doorway whispering of transformation, of reckoning. Yet just as I began to step forward, a deafening roar permeated the air, shaking the very core of my being. The chamber pulsated violently, and the shadows reared back, forming a swirling vortex, becoming a maelstrom of sound and fury. "Face the truth," the voice thundered. "In becoming, you may also lose. Choose wisely." My breath quickened as I fought the urge to yield, staring into the chaos that writhed before me. It was a choice laid barrido. I plunged into the maelstrom, risking everything to find Mia, or retreat into the familiar comfort of my fear. The memories of our laughter throbbed in my heart, but the dark promise of loss beckoned menacingly. Just when clarity promised to break through, a new revelation shattered my resolve. The mirror flickered once again, the image shifting to a scene I had never seen before. It was a desolate landscape marked by shadows, and in the forefront stood someone startlingly familiar. Yet foreign figure in a shimmering cloak mirrored my own form. A gasp escaped my lips. No, my heart fell into a pit of dread. "It's me?" The winds howled as the reflection smiled, a haunting mirage that sparked a warmth in its gaze but cast an even deeper shadow over my soul. Had I not just been grappling with my fear? And now it seemed I was faced with the frightening embodiment of everything I wished to deny. Your strength lies in acceptance, the laughing figure whispered, the shadows coiling around them like loyal attendants. Embrace who you could be or be forever haunted by what you fear to become. My heart raced as the choice enveloped me, twisting hope and terror into a singular point of despair. I was on the precipice of something unimaginable, forced to confront the fear I had spent my life trying to outrun. But this moment was far from the end. It felt like a beginning steeped in uncertainty as the shadows surged. I felt my connection to Mia pulsate faintly yet strongly. I clung to the flicker of hope that perhaps this darkness was not just an enemy but also a teacher, a challenge to reshape everything I thought I knew about myself. Hold on to hope, murmured a voice, no longer an echo but a solid reminder of who I was fighting for. But as the darkness began to close in again, I could already feel the pull, an irresistible urge to slip into oblivion. And as I faced the spectral figure that was my reflection, everything teetered on the edge of a revelation. Would I grasp the looming uncertainty and step into the unknown? Or would I let my own shadow swallow me whole? The maelstrom of shadows roared around me, blurring the line between dread and anticipation. As the eerie figure in the mirror gazed back with an unnerving smile, I felt the weight of worlds pressing upon my fragile spirit. This figure, I shivered as I realized, embodied everything I feared losing, and somehow everything I could become if I chose to lean into the darkness I had fought so hard to resist. Choose wisely, it whispered again, the voice dripping with a mixture of allure and foreboding. With every surge of energy swirling in the chamber, memories of Mia crowded my mind, her laughter echoing like a heartstring stretched to its limit. The expanse of my love for her collided with the paralyzing fear of not only letting her down, but becoming someone unrecognizable. My heart raced as I realized this figure was not just a reflection of my worst fears. It was a potential, a promise of strength tainted with the possibility of becoming something entirely foreign. Stay here. My will faltered for the briefest moment, and the shadows tightened their grip, threatening to drag me down into the void. But a fleeting spark of warmth ignited deep within me, rekindling my resolve. No, I won't be trapped in this cycle. I turned my back on the gleaming form for a brief moment, and the world around me stilled. Almost audibly, the memories of joy surged forth, a tidal wave of warmth crashing against the cold, suffocating presence of the darkness. I could hear Mia's voice break through the roar of chaos. You're stronger than you think, and you need to stand tall, stand tall. The words felt like an incantation, a lifeline. Grounding myself in that thought, I took a step back towards the shimmering mirror. I won't run from this. I will confront it. The swirling shadows recoiled slightly, as if taken aback by my sudden defiance. I closed my eyes, envisioning Mia's unwavering belief in me, the glow of her smile piercing through the chaos like the sun breaking through stormy clouds. I could almost feel her hand in mine, tethering me to the truth of who I was and who I wanted to be. Embrace the light and the shadow, I whispered under my breath, letting those words settle into my core, nourishing the hope that perhaps my darkest elements could grant me unimaginable strength. With my heart echoing Mia's faith, I opened my eyes and called upon the shadows. I will not be reduced to mere fear. I choose to transform. Show me what lies within. The room shook violently, the vortex intensifying as if responding to my claim. A warmth enveloped my being, a sensation both exhilarating and terrifying. I felt my essence unraveling and then weaving back together, intertwining light and dark. The whisper of potential surged through the chaos, and I realized I was both fragile and fierce, woven from the threads of love, regret, strength, and vulnerability. In that chaotic conflux, the tautness of expectation began to unravel, and a radiant warmth etched itself into my chest. In the eye of the storm I saw flickering light, a new path made visible through the shadows. My breath came easier, and the once threatening figure in the mirror shifted. Instead of deceit, it revealed what I could harness, what I could embody. But just as I took a deep breath to step forward into that glowing potential, a voice pierced through the tingling air, sharper than any knife. You cannot escape. The shadows surged around me like a tidal wave of despair, threatening to pull me back into obscurity. No, I shouted back, clutching the essence of hope tight. But before I could take a definitive step towards the light, The shadowy hand reached out from the mirror, a seizing grasp that sent shockwaves through my spirit. The connection to Mia began to flicker, her essence wavering in the wake of the shadow's advance. "Help her!" I screamed, the plea bursting forth from my soul as I felt her presence fleeting, a disconnection that sent chills racing down my spine. "Mia, stay with me. Your time is short," the voice dripped venomously. "Either embrace your true self and sever your ties with her, or be bound to the transient flicker of light until it burns out. Make your choice." In that moment everything collided. The fight for Mia, the battle against my inner turmoil, and the haunting echo of my own potential. Fear wrapped around me, a reassuring cloak ready to drag me back to familiarity. Yet the light, the radiant possibility of becoming something more than my fears, emboldened me. I felt the gulf between darkness and light grow smaller, and something shifted within. The faithful whispers of others, those who had faced their own demons, echoed in my mind. It was a reminder that amidst the struggle, I was not alone. But as that realization ignited within me, an intense fear rushed in, fracking my heart into splinters. What if choosing the light meant losing Mia forever? No. The scream fought its way from deep within, fueled by love and desperation. I could not allow the darkness to claim her or me. And then from the vortex of shadows, the figure surged forward. As it reached through, I caught a glimpse of Mia, a fragile silhouette caught in the myriad of darkness. The sight tore at me, drowning me in anguish. "Fight! Fight for us!" I roared, the words echoing against the walls of despair. But even as I screamed, the shadows grabbed hold of my essence, and the overwhelming sensation of loss clawed at my heart. And then in a sudden cruel twist, the shadowy figure leaned in close, their smile exposing the truth I had feared most. "You already know the answer. In the end, isn't it you who must decide whom you love more, Mia or the power that could redefine who you are?" At that moment the temperature in the chamber plummeted, every ounce of hope freezing into solid despair. Everything I had fought for suddenly lay bare, and all that was left was the unbearable question that teetered, waiting to shatter me. Would I sacrifice love for power? Or would I grasp love and risk the chance of becoming the very monster I feared most? The shadows loomed large, a swirling tempest of uncertainty pressing against every inch of my being. "No," I whispered to myself, steeling my resolve. I'd lost myself in the chaos of dreams and nightmares, but now amid the cacophony of noise, I had one undeniable truth. Love. It was the very foundation of my existence, the pulse that drew me forward. "Mia," I breathed, forcing the name louder in the face of encroaching shadows. "I will choose love. Whatever power lurked within my newly embraced essence, it would not come at the price of losing the most essential part of who I was. It wouldn't steal away my soul but, rather, connect us with the infinite threads of our journey." The darkness writhed, sensing a shift in me, a light sparking amidst the overwhelming dread, the refusal to let go. The figure in the mirror flickered as if caught off guard. "You think love can save you?" it taunted, yet I could hear tremors of fear in its own voice. "Love holds no power here. It will drown you." But as the shadows lurched forward, I realized something profound. This darkness, this chaotic entity, it thrived on fear. But I had harnessed something greater. I had love, which runs deeper than any abyss, stronger than any shadow. "I will not fall into that trap," I declared, feeling the warmth radiating from my heart, infusing my entire being. Love transcends even the darkest despair. A shimmering glow enveloped me, intertwining with the shadows as I let my essence rise. I reached into the swirling darkness, offering not just defiance but an invitation to dance within the light. In that moment of intent, a breathtaking transformation surged through the air. The shadows began to recede, unwinding from their weighty grip as I too stepped forward. Light flickered, weaving through the darkness, morphing and blending until it resembled an ethereal tapestry, a fusion of both love and loss, strength born from vulnerability. Suddenly, I felt the shadows shift, revealing glimpses of memories stamped onto the fabric, the warmth of Mia's laughter on a sunlit day, our shared whispers beneath the stars, the dreams we crafted together. As each memory emerged, they sparked bright flames, illuminating the way forward while grounding me in the past. "Mia," I called out, my voice ringing louder, filling the chamber with certainty. "We have journeyed so far. I won't stand alone in the face of something that threatens to tear us apart." The darkness flickered, the figure's eyes drawing close to mine. You cannot have both. Child love and power cannot coexist for long. Make your choice. Power without love is but a prison, I responded firmly, letting that love pulsate within me. And I refused to be imprisoned any longer. In an act of defiance, I flared my wings wide and thrust myself toward the figure, erupting with the combined energies of love and strength. The warmth surged, manifesting in brilliant light that cascaded outward, momentarily blinding the darkness. The shadows recoiled, screaming in agony as I pierced through them, understanding now that I wasn't battling an enemy but embracing a part of me I had long abandoned. Echoes of memories filled the air, swirling around me as I began to rise, each vibrant piece complementing the hues of my shadows until I existed fully in the rapture of wholeness. In that vibrant dance I felt Mia's essence intertwine with my own, her spirit igniting within me, illuminating the darkness I had once cowered beneath. "There you are," she whispered, a gentle whiff of warmth brushing against my cheek like a tender caress. "Together." In that moment, the reflection in the mirror shifted again, revealing not the haunting shadows but a luminous Baina creature of ethereal light born from the core of love and acceptance. I was neither lost nor entirely transformed. I was both light and shadow, wisdom and innocence, threaded through the tapestry of everything I had ever been. "Together," I declared once more, the word bursting forth with confidence. We embraced our intertwined destinies, and as the shadows began to dissolve, I felt the enormity of love coursing through me, an invitation to use my gifts not just for power but for good. The echoes of fear shattered under the weight of our resolution, and as light enveloped the darkness, I felt the soothing pulse of calm replace chaos. The laughter and joy of the past rushed forward, igniting a sense of belonging and purpose. Just as I was about to surmount the final horizon of shadows, an overwhelming sense of understanding enveloped me. "You may run no more," the figure whispered, its voice now merging with the light. "You have embraced every facet of yourself, and in doing so, you have ignited a power that cannot be contained." In that moment I understood. The shadows would always be part of me. They were woven into the very fabric of my being. But so was love, and with that realization came freedom, a profound acceptance that being human meant embracing all that life offered. As the remnants of darkness faded into the distance, I stood strong and resolute, bathed in radiant light. Mia's spirit sparkled beside me, an enduring reminder of the journey we had taken together. "I'm here," she whispered, gleaming with triumph. "You did it." The world brightened around us, the shimmering colors reminding me of dawn breaking after a long night of uncertainty. The path before us was forged, alive with possibility, and while shadows would always linger, I felt the unshakable belief that I would never face them alone again. I turned my gaze toward the horizon, heart echoing with the promise of new beginnings. "And I will carry our love with me always." In that commitment I took a step into a future unwritten, my wings unfurled against the crisp morning sky, a being not just of shadow nor solely of light, but of all the vibrant hues that life had to offer. Love had tethered me to an everlasting truth, and as we soared into the unknown, I knew I would never forget it was never about becoming. It was about belonging together forever. I whispered, the promise carried by the wind, resonating through the very essence of my Baina truth, shining stronger than anything darkness could ever hope to extinguish.
Followed, we found ourselves weaving memories, constructively working towards the warm light of shared emotions as we pieced together the intricate threads of Jess's spirit, collecting stories and laughs around every corner of his life. Hours passed in a whirl of laughter echoing through the waiting room, each shared moment illuminating the shadows that had lingered too long. Suddenly, the door creaked open again, the doctor stepping in, his expression grave yet softened with a hint of kindness that only illustrated the honesty between us all. "Jess is in recovery now, and the procedure was successful," he announced, the air in the room exploding with collective relief. Tears streamed down his mother's face, but they were ones of gratitude and joy. "Can we see him?" she asked, and the doctor nodded, motioning for us to follow. As we entered the recovery room, the atmosphere flipped, revealing Jesse lying there as peacefulness enveloped him, a stark contrast to the turmoil his body had endured moments before. The machinery around him hummed gently, creating a melody that bore testimony to the fight he had waged. And then there he was, Jesse, the beacon of light. Though he lay there nestled within the sterile sheets, a warrior returned home. My heart soared, the warmth of hope wrapping around us as we inhaled the scent of healing. Initially hesitant, one by one we gathered around him, quiet yet united. And when Carson stepped up, his voice gruff yet warm, permeated the airy silence. "Hey Jesse, it's us. We're here. Whatever you need, you're not alone." His eyes fluttered open, a flicker of confusion crossing his features before recognition dawned. "What are you doing here?" he croaked, the words barely audible. "Reminding you why you matter," Ethan chimed in, trying to keep the mood light despite the gravity of the moment. "Seriously, man, we just need you to know that you've got a whole crew behind you." Jesse smiled faintly, fatigue etching lines on his brow, but beneath that facade, a resolute strength flickered. "I didn't want to be a burden," he hinted, his voice breaking, vulnerability slicing through the veil he desperately tried to hide. I leaned closer, the warmth of his friendship replenishing the parts of my heart that had grown frayed. "You're never a burden. You're our light, Jesse. You've carried us through so much. Now it's our turn." And as we shared personal stories and laughter, as we pressed our hearts openly into his hands, I could see the palpable strength of our connection wrapping itself around him like warm embracia communion built on love, forged through shared experiences, reminding him of his value and presence in our lives. As he inhaled deeply, allowing the warmth of our words to blanket him, an ethereal peace washed over him, allowing his armor to crack just enough for us to glimpse the heart within. "Thank you," he murmured, the weight of defeat flooding from him like the tide. "I'm scared, but we're all scared," Carson assured gently, releasing a breath he had been holding in. "But now we create the path forward together." And there, in that quiet room suffused with healing light, we belonged to one another more than ever before, hearts interwoven, love binding us in a tapestry that reminded us of our strength. In that moment, I realized we weren't just helping Jesse heal, we were healing ourselves. We were learning to face fear and uncertainty together, and for the first time, the weight of my heart felt lighter, buoyed by the love cascading among us. As Jess's eyelids slowly closed again, a serene smile tracing his lips, I whispered, "You are so loved, Jesse. And we will be here for you, every step of the way." Outside the room, the bright hospital lights flickered kindly as the warmth of connection wrapped around each of us. Life, in all its uncertainty, had gifted us a surprise, the understanding that, together, we could carry the weight with grace, for in love, there was no burden too heavy to lift, no shadow dark enough to dim our light, and as I stood there, surrounded by my chosen family, I knew that no matter what life threw our way, together we would always rise.